In this episode, find out how the mate screws up, find out how the captain screws up. Welcome to the Old Hobo channel, and this is a story of our trip this spring on the Erie Hobo. We visited and traveled on the St. John's River system, all the creeks and all the springs we could see over 21 days. We traveled up to about 530 miles. These are the chronicles of days 17, 18, and 19. We are on our way home. The next episode will be the last day home. So I hope you enjoy this. Please, I encourage you to watch the previous episodes and you'll get more detail. This is really the dash home, just some of the highlights. We're getting ready to leave. This is Julington Creek, and out through there is the river. Okay, it's Saturday morning, leaving Julington Creek Marina. We're going to be turning south down the St. John, so it's nice and calm. Bit of breeze is more from the sort of from the north, and waves are nice and calm. And we left the marina just the other side of that bridge there. It was a nice quiet night there. While in Julington Creek, we had trouble with one of our bank cards being declined. Not bank card, but Visa card, US denomination. Then the Canadian one worked, and then it didn't. And at least we found out our debit works, we can get cash out. And we verified my wife's credit card still seemed to work. So talking to Visa on the phone is useless. If you don't have a phone identification code or can't remember it because you never used it before, they just won't talk to you. So it gives me wonder if there's a better option than Visa. Down farther that way, not very far, just a few miles, is Blackwater Creek, and there's a marina at the mouth there. They do have a pump out that is functioning. You can see, I was just reflecting, this is why they call St. John's the River of Lakes. This is just one big huge lake. In the far, far distance you can see Jacksonville. It's actually not that far, but what is it, about 25 miles? Yeah, is it that? We still have a ways to go down to Palatka today, and at that point things start to narrow up a little bit. But River of Lakes. We were just at Black Creek Marina, and we got our pump out, which was our objective. On our way in there, we checked the phone and the ringer wasn't on. We're heading back that way to Julington Creek Marina. Why are we returning to Julington Creek Marina?
The first mate forgot her purse in the bathroom. Now we have to go back 1 hour, but we're on vacation, so that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's right. Okay, so maybe we won't make it all the way to Palatka tonight, but hey, we'll see. We might. Okay. Or at least my wife realizes and tells me all these views of just water and land don't mean a whole lot, but we're heading that way. Eventually Palatka is about at this point 35 miles that way, and we're still going to try and make that. Now as we turn this way, we're going to have a more direct following sea, and we're going to be coasting. So we're really thankful right now that we've got more or less a northerly wind, and we're heading south. So we're surfing, and we pick up a little speed because of that, and it cuts down on the spray for sure. There's no time to stop for lunch, and we enjoy eating on the go, and Janet's able to prepare things while I drive the boat. This is the what's coming up is the Shands Bridge here. We didn't stop to look at any of the sites. We'd seen all this before on our initial part of the trip, and you can look at previous episodes and find out more about these. It's helpful for us. We passed by, of course, coming up to Green Cove. I think what you see there is an energy plant that's been decommissioned or abandoned. And we finally made our way to Palatka. We had visited there before, and it's a very good place to stay and close to the downtown. We're back at the exact same spot we were a bit more than a week ago. There's John, he's still here. Two new guys here, and we're here. It's nice and windy. We're being blown against the dock. The waterfront park is really quite nice, and it is kept clean and kept up by volunteers. Here's a pile of the trash that they picked up that day. Downtown, there are also quite a few murals and restaurants. Here we are in Palatka, just looking at all the flowers. There's one. This is one of the restaurant patios. It's quite a display.
Okay, it's Sunday morning in Palatka. We just finished going to church at First Baptist, and this is how we get our gas now. We're walking up Main Street, one of the main streets, to 6th Street, and then we're going to get gas. That's a 12-gallon tank that Andrew is pulling, and it's just below half, and then we're going to get it filled.
We visited the St. John's River Center, which is at the Palatka dock, right at the park there. We spent a couple hours talking to this gentleman. He's a retired surveyor, and he's one of the volunteers at the River Center. Very interesting. William Bartram was one of the earliest explorers to document extensively his travels through the St. John's River system. There we are. All these osprey have young in the nest. We've left Palatka at around 3 o'clock, and we're heading not too far today, maybe only a dozen miles, and to Stokes Landing. One thing to note, we've actually got a following current. We're heading upriver. There's hardly yet normally any current anyhow, except for the tide. We're at high tide, so we're making, oops, I don't know if you can see it, 7 or even up to 7.2 miles per hour at 2,600 RPM. And normally we'd be like 6.2. So we've got a little bit of current behind us, which is nice. Florida has a problem with wrecked and abandoned boats. This barge has 3 wrecked boats on it, so there are some cleanup efforts. This is the only time we saw it though. Aerial maps are really quite amazing and useful. You notice we started in Palatka, and we get to this point, Buffalo Bluff. Here's the bridge, also known as Satsuma Bridge, and it is a CSX railway bridge. And now look what you can see from the aerial view. It's quite amazing. You can see the detail of the bridge. In previous videos, I've mentioned how many osprey there are on every navigational device. They are perched there, an adult and usually a couple fledglings just barely visible. We had traveled from Palatka to Buffalo Bluff, and finally we're getting to our destination, Stokes Landing, where we plan to anchor for the night. This is Stokes Island, and in there Stokes Landing, but it's a triangular island. You can see the exit there for us, the entrance here, quite deep all the way around. We're going to explore this as an anchorage. The wind is from the south, so on this side would be better, or well, there's lee shore over there too. In we go. Okay, we're turning the corner with Stokes Island here, and this is what we saw. It's a shipbuilder on Stokes Landing. We anchored within the crab pot line here, up against Stokes Island. There's the shipbuilder back there. There's the wide open St. John's. We won't get too much wake from there. The wind is pretty variable behind the island, so just put out bow anchor straight there. A little side anchor there just to keep us from swinging over into the trees. So we look forward to a restful night. This is still Sunday night, and things change and you have to adapt. This is our new anchorage. This is Trout Creek, and we've been in here earlier on the way up. We came in from that way, from the south, and we headed down. And we ended up at Rat Island, if you remember from that. I'm not sure what video that will have been in the series, but what happened at the other island, Stokes Landing, Stokes Island, where the shipyard was, there were people coming and going, and particularly one pontoon boat came in, and even though he was to the far side, he had an enormous wake, and it rocked us from the side, stuff falling from the shelves, and we said, this is not what we can handle. But we came in here, there was a small boat with fishermen, and we've seen one small pontoon go, and they tend to respect, for the sake of manatees and because of all the S-bends we have here. There's just a series of S-bends. People are respecting speed limits and things like that, or using sensible speeds, let's put it that way. Yeah, and we've got fish jumping, we've got noises in the bush. So this is what we like. So We just have to learn, remember, and learn the lessons how to pick an anchorage that is good for this boat, which is off the travel path and in shallow water. We got an anchor here in about 3 feet, 2.5 feet of water, and I put a little side anchor off to the side. I don't expect any winds, but it's just to keep us from rocking back into anything shallow. Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay, Monday morning around 7:30 we got up, and this is a beautiful day to start. The mist on the water. We had some guys coming by last night on their pontoon boat back and forth. They got double headlights that look like a car coming down the road. They were idling very, very slowly. I presume they were just gator watching. I don't know. Okay, we're coming out of the Trout River. It's just this beautiful area and so calm, except for our wake behind us. So the St. John's is here. We'll be heading south there. Very beautiful today. Day 19 of our trip was a big travel day, bringing us 43 miles closer to Sanford, where we would take the boat out and end our journey. We, of course, started in the creek there behind the Seven Sisters Island, Trout Creek, and we headed south past Palatka, the little Lake George, and then the big Lake George, and down to Astor, and then south just past Lake Dexter is Alexander Springs Creek. That's where we anchored for the night. Palatka means narrows. So since Palatka, the river has narrowed up considerably. The character has changed, and we're getting more of the creeks and little islands and things like this and bays. We're now approaching Lake George, and that is where it does open up into a big lake, and then it will narrow down again as we get to Astor. We'll continue on today's journey. We're heading to Lake George through this channel here, and diverting, it'll go straight down the length of Lake George, down the middle. Okay, that's where we came in there when we were coming originally from Salt Spring, down that side of the lake. But this will take us straight down towards Astor. We mind the crab pots. They act as channel markers sometimes. They line the channel. That's Drayton Island. This is the Georgetown side, and there are some very nice homes. We're entering fearsome Lake George. It was forecast something like 1.7 to 2 feet, I think, for today. Tomorrow it was going to be, so we were thinking of going over there to Salt Springs or preferably to Silver Glen, but then tomorrow leaving we'd be facing up to 3-foot waves. They were increasing, so we're going to completely go the length of Lake George and get towards Astor for today. So for us at our speed, it's about, I think, 14 miles. We'll put up the speed a bit. It'll be a 2-hour crossing. These waves are about the, I guess the 1.5 foot, 1.7, something like that.
Hello, Cyber Ladies. This is just a little tour of our boat. Here we're crossing Lake George from north to south, and it's rough here on the lake. That's why we started out earlier. This is what we see. That's what Andrew sees, and he's at the helm here. You can see it splashing, so I'm grateful that the waves aren't hitting us head on. But anyways, so that's the captain's seat right there. That's our little sink, and then we can flip this board up, and then we flip the seat up, and we have our stove, propane stove there. This is the head. This is where we have our little nice friend, the porta potty and storage. This is the back where we sit and have our meals and play games, Rummy Cube. This is some more storage. It's fastened down. This is a fridge Andrew put in, and it's fastened with a bungee cord it's come out once on a wavy trip. And so that is about it. So we're going to be in this for about 2 hours.
We re-entered the river from Lake George, the south end, through the weirs that protect the channel, and they lead us to Astor. We are approaching Astor, and one thing on our bucket list we haven't done yet this trip is to pull up to a restaurant with a dock, and that's what I think we're going to do, and get some gas also in Astor. Heading across Lake George is 13 miles. We did it with 2.5 gallons of gas, so that's 5.2 miles per gallon. Generally, if we were putting up the speed a bit to something like 7.5, 7.7, normally we'll get 6 gallons an hour, or 6 miles per gallon at 6 miles an hour. Astor is an unincorporated town, I believe. It is known as the gateway to the upper St. John's River. That is everything south of Astor, and there's some of the wildest, most natural areas of the river are south of Astor. That being said, Astor itself is fairly well developed, a lot of homes and so on. Tourism is really big there. There are a lot of fish camps, there's a lot of boating, there are creeks, there are many places south of Astor or south of Lake George. Very many places to explore. There's Astor's Bridge. It is a lift bridge. We're southbound through it. Just around the corner is a restaurant on the water, and that's where we're going to see about docking. Okay, you're at throttle her back a bit. Oh, the current dropped you right down too.
Well,
Throttle,
I had it on
yeah,
20.
throttle back.
Where are we?
Right there. We're Drifters Riverfront. So, tell you what, go to the last one.
Closed Mondays. Is today Monday?
Yeah, closed Mondays. What a ripoff. A lot of places close Monday and Tuesday. This was to be your first landing.
Aw, man.
Well, don't worry, the gas is up here at St. John's Marina North, so put the power back on a little bit and we'll get some gas. We did get some fuel, and we only had 7 or 8 miles to continue.
Heading up Alexander Creek to Alexander Springs, trying to find an anchorage.
Okay, we're anchored in Alexander Creek. We used our backup anchor because the first anchor I hoisted and threw it in, and basically where is the little shackle?
It's at the back. It's right close to the door.
Okay, this guy. The shackle, I had it tight. I didn't have it safety, but I had it tight, but through use it's vibrated loose. So we lost a 25-pound anchor, and we've just got, I think it's like a 15-pound one out there right now. We do have sort of a Danforth style one we could use, but we're in the lee here. It's biting and it's going to be okay, but I'll have to buy a new anchor. TV reception keeps changing when the boat moves.
1175.
What are you doing, Andrew?
You have a feeling.
Just compensating for the boat swing. I can rotate it.
And you have a feeling that.
Oh, this is our TV antenna now.
In the sense that,
He put the antenna at the top,
you just kind of walked out
and now he rotates it.
Well, that wound up day 19. Spam, rice, and corn never gets old. We enjoy ourselves and eat well. Later that night, it was getting dark. Some guys came by. I don't know if they're fishing, gator hunting, or what. They had the bright lights on their pontoon boat. They went by and they disappeared, and they came back about 2.5 hours later. So I presume they'd gone up as far as they could, maybe up to the springs themselves. So those were the only people we saw.